Wham! Talk 1600. You're catching the drift. Conservative talk. Intelligent conversations on local, state, and national issues with Gary Wellings, chief editor of the Current newspaper and Current Online. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your host, Gary Wellings.
Hey, and good Saturday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to catch our drift. Joining me in the studio, Ipsy Ed Bonderenka.
And a good Saturday afternoon to you, too.
Kind of warm out.
Yes, it's nice.
Isn't it?
Oh, I changed oil in the truck last night. Didn't have to turn the heat on in the garage.
Can I have you change my oil, too?
Come on over. Makes me wonder why I'm not going to Hamburg oil, Hamburg lube.
That's where I go.
Yeah, I got it on my hands. I was amazed at the viscosity of oil these days. It used to be you just wash it off. It was like having grease on my hands. I couldn't get the oil off my hands. That's impressive.
High tech.
Yes.
It's probably got nanites in it, dude. They're sinking into your skin, turning you into a robot. Okay, well, welcome to the Drift, and what we do on the Drift every Saturday is go over the news we put on thedailydrift.com. It's
the news you need to know.
Well done. And let's take care of a little business before we get into the stuff, because we've got Congressman Tim calling in at the bottom of the hour. So
we got to hurry.
We've got to hurry to get everything done. Leper accounting. It's tax season, folks. It's tax season. I think you've got less than 2 weeks, just over a week to get your taxes in on April 15th. Call Leper Accounting, 810-355-1552. That's 810-355-1552. They've got an office in Ann Arbor on Huron's West Huron, and an office in Pinckney on East M36. Or you can go to lepperaccounting.com. That's LEPPER accounting.com.
You can either panic or you can just pick up that stack of papers and drop in and say, help.
Yeah,
and they will.
I got mine done earlier this year. It was nice.
Good.
Well, relatively. I got my check back within 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That must be nice.
First time I've had money back in well over a decade for me. So it was kind of nice.
Hey, before we go any further, didn't you go to see a play
2 weeks ago?
Hamilton?
Yeah, the day I took off.
Tell us about that.
So Hamilton, right? The musical that everyone, the libs, and even myself was thinking, ugh, do I really want to go see this lib play, right?
Rap play on.
And oddly enough, nobody stood out and said anything bad about Donald Trump or the Republicans or anything else. The music is kind of rapish, hip-hopish, right? Which I'm not a super big fan of. But
were the lyrics accurate?
I would say yes.
Was the theme accurate?
I would say yes. Now, I had somebody say, well, yeah, old Alexander was the guy who did the central bank and got us into the central bank. Yes, understood. But if this play makes anybody want to go, it made me.
That's what I want to know. Is it would it actually cause a lib who went in there saying, "Oh, this is hip. I'm going to go in," and then they go, "Wow, I got to find out about this guy." And then they find out about the founding of our country and then how they're wrong and become a conservative.
I think most people would. I came away from that place saying, "I didn't know that. I would like to know more." And I'll tell you kind of a strange story. I have an encased copy of the Federalist Papers. Now, I've read a few excerpts of the Federalist Papers, but never read the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I want to go in now and slice open the plastic and open these and read them from beginning to end, because he wrote like 80% of them,
as a PDF
65, 70. The majority came from Alexander Hamilton, who wrote the Federalist Papers.
Some from Adams.
And
Madison,
and these guys are all in it, and Aaron Burr, of course, is in it, and it's very tragic. There's really the tragedy in his life is pretty epic, and so I would tell most people, you know what, go see it. Absolutely, go see it if you can afford it.
Don't give any spoilers. Don't tell us how it ends.
It's history, folks. You already know how it ends if you know your history.
Okay.
But yes, I was pleasantly surprised. The only spin that I really saw in the writing of the play was the fact that on more than one occasion they always say, Alexander Hamilton's an immigrant. He's an immigrant. They were just about all immigrants in those days, folks. But he was from the Caribbean islands, whatever. And so they kind of played that up as, ooh, he's an immigrant. Now, the majority of the actors...
He was a legal immigrant.
The majority of the actors are all African-American, which is not true to life in history. But I don't know if this cast is like the same people for the original in New York or wherever. but they were good. I was impressed. I was very impressed. So
was there gunfire on stage?
Yes.
Okay. Did anybody panic and run out of the theater like I heard they did in New York?
No.
Okay.
No,
that's true.
No, I would definitely recommend it. It was not the liberal spin that I expected. Other than that, and it was mild. My favorite character, King George. King George, bar none. The humor in his appearance, I think he comes on like 3 times. Hilarious. You looked at it and you go, oh, it's
crumbs. I might have to.
Yeah, I would recommend.
Changing my worldview here. My paradigms are shifting.
It changed mine. I was the last guy who wanted to go see Hamilton, but I went, and I was pleasantly surprised.
So they did serve Kool-Aid there?
No, I went to it's at the Fisher Theater, right? So I had a scotch. I was there. And had dinner downtown and I don't go downtown Detroit very often, and I had a great time. It was wonderful.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so
good.
Definitely, if you can afford to get down to the Fisher Theater or in New York or wherever it goes next, definitely I would highly recommend going to see Hamilton. Worth it.
Yeah, 200 years from now, we can look forward to a play called Biden.
Well, let's start there, shall we? Joe Biden being thrown under the bus. I memed that out today.
I love that thought of that. Yeah. I love the sound of bus tires.
As vice president, none of this came out when he was running with Barack Obama.
Excuse me. We saw it happen. We saw it happen in conservative social media. But the national media and the other Dems would never point it out because he was their guy.
Which leads me to ask the question, why now? Why now? You've got a huge
field of candidates. I thought you were more politically savvy than that, Gary. I'm sorry. We're going to have to have a little talk.
But I want someone to tell me. I want to hear it. Why now? Because Joe Biden is not allowed to carry the socialist water for the Democrats? Is he too old? Is he too white? Why are you throwing – and who is throwing Joe Biden under the bus now?
Do we have a caller who's going to explain it all to us?
I don't know. In a minute. I want to hear your version, though.
My version?
Yeah.
Well, everybody says it's Bernie Sanders' team that's doing it. I think there's a real fear. See, here's the deal. Everybody says Biden's a front runner. He's the front runner amongst Democrat candidates, but I don't think Biden can beat Trump. Trump has accomplishments under his belt. Biden has the Obama years. Okay? Sounds good on paper, but in reality, when you look at the graphs, it's a total failure. So Biden could be the guy that gets the nomination and loses the election. So I think there's a certain faction in the Democrat Party that wants to kill him for that. Then there's the other parts that say, well, he's the old white guy, the old white guy groper that blah, blah, unwoke. He's still asleep. He's unwoke. So we don't want him. We want Ocasio and her crowd.
Right. And you would think, I was kind of surprised that Joe is taking the tact on it that he is. And Derek, you got track 1 ready? So this is Joe, and it kind of makes you go, maybe. Go ahead and play it.
I'm sorry I didn't understand more. I'm not sorry for any of my intentions. I'm not sorry for anything that I have ever done. I've never been disrespectful intentionally to a man or a woman. That's not the reputation I had since I was in high school, for God's sake.
Mr. Vice President.
Okay. The point is, he's totally out of touch with what he was doing. That it's not appropriate. The sniffing of the hair, the nuzzling of the ears, the rubbing noses with complete strangers just because you're vice president and you're in a position of power and they won't challenge that. Or, some of the little girls will get the creepy look on their face like, woo, what is this?
I tell you what, it's the women aside. Back when
the sheriff with his hand on his thigh,
that one made me laugh. The sheriff giving him the look like, dude, really, you're going to touch my thigh? But it's just the thing that bothers me even more than the women part. It's the children part. Mm-hmm. And there was a video that somebody sent me on Facebook of Jeff Sessions being signed in as senator, and he's got his granddaughter there. And Joe's kind of reaching over to, I don't know if he was going to grab the little girl's hand or whatever. And it looks like Sessions is kind of bashing his hands away, grabs his granddaughter and walks away very quickly. And I'm thinking, oh, what does Sessions know? What did he know? It's just odd.
I love the Trump tweet video.
I called it the sh-2 movement for Joe. Shh. Right? Let's take a call from Joe in Wyandotte about Joe Biden. Hey, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I know. I got to be careful with that word, don't I?
Joe?
I'm kind of mixed emotions with Joe Biden. On the one hand, I can appreciate and understand and want a world where people are old-fashioned and loving and affectionate. But on the other hand, he clearly, a lot of times, is way in creepy zone and over the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I get it kind of from both sides, even on Facebook and Twitter, because I half defend him and half lambaste him. But regardless how you look at Joe, you can clearly point out the usual Democrat double standard and hypocrisy.
Yes.
While Sanders folks are trying to attract Joe Biden, they're still silent on Fairfax, the lieutenant governor of Virginia, and his rape cases, letting him slide.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's what I think's happening with the Democrats. I think the next guy getting thrown on the bus is going to be Bernie Sanders. I do not believe the Democrats are going to allow an older white guy to carry the water for the party. It's not
known
happening.
Communist.
Yeah, they will find something on Bernie, whether it's his wife's college fraud or some bank fraud.
Or that he's not a registered Democrat.
Bernie's next. They are not going to allow either one of these two older white guys to be the face of the Democratic Party. It's not happening. Not a chance. I just don't believe it.
I agree with you. It's nothing to do with policy anymore with them. It's all it's clearly with Biden. Biden is the most moderate, the most the one with the best chance, actually. But no, it's all about hard left-wing, 100% communism all the time ideology.
So, Joe, let me ask you this. So, Pete Buttigieg, however you pronounce his name.
Whatever.
He's coming out, and
he's just over a year eligible to run, right? 37, you got to be 36.
So he's young, and he's gay, right?
Yes.
So again, back to the identity politics. The only people that the Democrats are going to allow to run will either be a person of color, a woman, or a gay person, or any combination thereof.
You know, when we thought we'd have a first man or first husband, we thought it was going to be Bill. We never imagined it would be Buttigieg's husband. You know?
Is he married to a man?
No, not yet, but it's bound to happen.
Yeah, yeah, you may very well be right there, and it is. It's just 100% identity politics all the time now. They cannot absolutely stand anywhere on the issue, so they need the distraction, the deflection, and the denial of reality.
Right. When you go to old school politicking, like you were describing Biden is doing, you know, the glad hatting, old school politicking was baby kissing. Now new school is baby killing.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Why does that sum it up, unfortunately?
Yes. And that kind of goes, speaking of Pete, so hang on, Joe, because I want to get your gig on this too. Derek, we got track 2, and this Pete Buttigieg is already backtracking on using the all lives matter, right? Yeah. Which is, frankly, just disgusting that it's bad to say all lives matter. Go ahead and play that, Derek. You got it? Okay.
Is expected to enter soon, and he is already starting to apologize for something, and that is the fact that he, in the past, used the phrase, all lives matter.
Unfortunately, it was not obvious to everybody that black lives were being valued the same. And so that is the contribution of Black Lives Matter, and it's a reason why, since learning about how that phrase was being used to push back on that activism.
Yeah. So that's part of the new mantra of the Democratic Party.
No spine.
All lives don't matter because we kill babies, and you can't be a white person. Your life doesn't matter as much as a person of color because you've had some white privilege for 1,000 years.
The guy has no spine. He can't come out and say, listen, don't you think all lives matter? I don't care what it sounds like. I'm not saying black lives don't matter. I'm saying all. He has no spine. So right off the bat, he rolled over.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah.
Yep, pandering.
Yeah.